KL Setty is a pen name of identical twin sister Kirsten and Kaitlin Setty. They are from a small town in southern Ohio where they still live under the rule of a cat overlord named Sandy. Kirsten works in human resources and Kaitlin is a cataloging librarian. Pursuing degrees in history, along with a love for reading, inspired a passion for storytelling. The debut dark fantasy novel called Dark SS is planned for a summer 2025 release. The story is inspired by the show Sons of Anarchy and Mystic's family drama with ancient magic. Why not delving into dark, magical realms, you can find the pair out adventuring, hunting for bargain books, or rewatching The Lord of the Rings for the thousandth time. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today the two amazing identical twin sister, Kirsten and Kaitlin. You're both welcome on the show.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having us. Yes.
Absolutely. I'm kind of excited, really. It's been the first time having an identical twin to be author on the show. And you both have a lovely bio. I love the ending part, watching Lord of the Rings for the thousandth time.
Yes, that's our favorite. Yeah, our favorite.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so KL, I want to say that this is my first time actually having an identical twin upcoming author on my show. I feel so excited and I would like to ask you, how do you both develop a passion for writing? How does it start? Or would I say this is a bit genetical too? I mean, I have seen a case of twins whereby one sister is gentle, loves singing, quiet, and so calm, and the other chooses to be a wrestler, punching everything at home and getting into trouble with neighbors. Tell me, how do you develop a passion for writing? How does it come to be? I don't know who is going first.
Do you want to go first or? I think we just love reading. Both of us, we kind of like to read the same kind of books. And so we always kind of thought, well, I mean, why couldn't we try, to write our own book? I mean, yeah, we started like kind of writing in middle school, like we had notebooks full of like stuff, and we all like I had my own thing, she had her own thing that we were doing, and then we kind of got in college, and we were like, we're very similar. We like the same things. We took the same thing in college. We both majored in history. We had like the same classes and stuff, so we were like, why don't we do something together that we both like, enjoy writing? And we wrote, gosh, how much we wrote what two books like right off the rip, yeah, based off of like stuff that we liked in history, and we were kind of starting on another one, and we put it online on Wattpad. Yeah. And just to kind of see what people thought of it and stuff. And I mean, people really started liking it, and we were like, yeah, why couldn't we continue with this? Yeah, it won a couple of awards, and it was very kind of inspiring, and we thought maybe we could have a serious go at this. And so we just kind of started doing stuff together, and we've been doing that ever since, kind of. I mean, we got our couple of it. We got like our Instagram page started, and TikTok page started, and we're just kind of, taking it day by day, and just kind of
That's quite amazing to know, really.
Yeah,
that's quite lovely. And I was gonna add this too. What kind of genre do you read back then, where you first developed passion for writing and reading and stuff like that? What genre do you do particularly, or do you love the most? I'd say.
Uh, I like reading all kinds of stuff, but I always go back to in college I started reading like the Game of Thrones books, and that was kind of like the first like fantasy, but like grim dark, kind of darker fantasy that I started reading, where people were making mistakes and like darker characters, and so that's kind of more what I love reading, more now. Yeah, so we kind of wanted to try to incorporate that because, I too began reading that, of course, shortly after she did. And just like with like Lord of the Rings and even like The Wheel of Time, by Robert Jordan, it's very like a very large cast, like very immersive, with fantasy and magic and, just kind of trying to combine the two and then, throw a little bit of romance in there. Yeah. Somehow. And that's kind of what we like.
Yeah, I love your take on that actually. Sounds quite lovely and quite amazing to me. And also, I see that you both are working on a book in the name of Dark SS. For readers who haven't read the book yet, and without giving much information away, could we have a pre-publication sneak, I'd say, of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up Dark Assets?
Well, we really like focusing on like flawed characters and stuff. And so, I do love reading books about like heroes and stuff like that, but a lot of times like they don't really make mistakes and they're not interesting. Yeah. And so we kind of start out with people just living in, the world, like a dark world. And, some people are villains in it that's going to become the heroes, Yeah. So like in this, a lot of the themes are like people kind of taking hold of their own destiny. There's a lot about found family in this. Yeah. A lot of it is like there's like two kind of brother characters on two opposing sides, and they're going to have to come together to unite to defeat the bigger issue. And we're trying to infuse like ancient magic and kind of like Scottish Highlands lore and like some kind of shadow magic and stuff like that.
Playing on from my first question, and I love your answer to that actually. I know that's one to make me to ask you, who are your favorite authors and how have they influenced your writing? How would you like to talk about that?
Do you want to start? Sure. Some of my favorite authors are Scott Lynch and Joe Abercrombie. They kind of write grimdark fantasy books, but they kind of will infuse humor and really witty dialogue and conversations. And so just kind of the way they describe things has really kind of affected how I like to write, because describing and like world building is probably my favorite thing to write about. And so, anytime I can kind of interject something like a little witty thing to like really bring a scene or character to life, I really have drawn inspiration from those two authors for that. Oh yeah, and I think like George R. R. Martin with the Game of Thrones books and stuff too, and just she likes doing like a lot of descriptions and stuff, and so where I'm kind of like, okay, I need help with this, she will help me with that. And then I like doing more kind of like characters and like dialogue and stuff like that. So it complements each other well, kind of in that way when we're writing. Yeah, but I agree with the grim dark, like the funny throwing humor in there, because we love to laugh. Yeah.
Well, I love your take on this, actually. I love your take on this. And, I myself particularly love, like you mentioned, describing world building. I myself love reading books with an amazing and interesting world building, because I come to think of it that the kind of books that you read would kind of have a bit of influence on how you tend to write. If you read words with an amazing description, amazing storytelling, compelling characters rather, kind of make you to instill all of those qualities while writing your own books. So that's quite amazing to know. Thank you for mentioning.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite amazing, really. So, again, I'd love to ask you, I've been fascinated by how writers, craft long sentences and bring words together in a way that it eventually makes a great novel. And this always leaves me thinking about how exactly did they got the idea to write these things together? To craft paragraphs that make pages, that make chapters, that makes an amazing huge compilation of chapters and an amazing novel eventually. This leave me thinking, how did they get the ideas to put this well together over and over and over again in a way that it's made a lovely story. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I'd love to ask you too, how do you develop your inspirations? How do you get your inspirations and ideas? Where did they come from?
Well, when we were in college, we had a professor that would always say, write what you know. And so a lot of times we take stuff that has happened in history, and we kind of use that as a basis and then kind of, build off of that. And a lot of times we have a Google Docs account that we share. And so she'll get on there and she has her own characters. And it's really cool to do dialogue like that because, we have like a scene planned out, but like, she's doing the dialogue for her characters at the same time, like on that Google Docs, and I can be, on another computer doing dialogue, what the person is saying in response to, what they're saying. So we're having a conversation, but within the characters.
It helps you stay in the mindset of them. And it's a little easier because, she can have hers and then I can have more mine.
Yeah. So we have some kind of control over, the aspects of the book, but then like I said, if I'm having trouble with descriptions or something like that, she's right there and can and we can work at the same time with different things and stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. I love your take on that. Sounds quite great to me. Yeah, before I proceed, I'd love to do some, how would I put it? I'd love to do some identification or identity differences. Yeah, just not to confuse my viewers. So I would love to know who is Kirsten and Kaitlin. Could you?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I think.
You'd be like, yeah. You'd be like, oh my goodness, they both look alike. Who is talking? Please, Peter, could you please let us know who is Kaitlin? Is it the one by the right-hand side or the left? So let's do a short identification test, I would say.
I'm Kirsten.
And I'm Kaitlin.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Yes. We picked that title name, or we picked that author name because we have the same initials.
Yeah, we have the same initials. So
Setty. So
we decided to combine them.
That sounds like in mathematics, that sounds like K raised to power 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'd love to ask you this too. What does it feel like to co-author a book together? How do you go alongside your writing style and storytelling techniques? Because to me, I'm kind of thinking that, this person's writing style might be a bit different from this person. How were you able to come together and have a smooth, general writing style eventually? As co-authors, what is your writing process like? Would you like to talk about that? I'm more particularly interested in knowing these.
Yes. Well, we have a lot of similarities, but our writing, we have differences in our writing, obviously. So I think just kind of writing at the same time, like on a document really helps us, and then sometimes I will kind of try to like mimic her way of like writing, but, kind of give my kind of take on it, and then she'll kind of do the same, and then like editing, like if we're like going back, then like we'll both kind of add things, just to make sure that it's a combined effort, but also kind of both of us contributing.
Yeah, because when we first started out, like I would write a chapter and she would write a chapter, and we found out that we do have kind of
we could tell
different writing styles. So it's just to us the easy way is to just write kind of together, and we each have our own characters, but we try to, and I try to mimic her writing. Like I write kind of more shorter sentences, and I like dialogue, and then she writes more kind of flowing long descriptions and stuff like that. So somehow it kind of works out, I think.
Well, this is quite amazing, really, and I'm really looking forward to the publication of this book, just to see how all of these things is being done. I'm really eager to try to find out eventually. And like you mentioned, it's gonna be out 2025. That's next year, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for mentioning. I enjoy listening and hearing that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd also like to ask you, what excites you most as a writer? Also, are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing this book and putting them together?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah, sometimes like, we will have differing opinions on
Yes.
how a scene plays out, or, how some aspect of the world,
Mhm.
plays out. So, we'll kind of bicker about it, but then we'll kind of go away, and then we'll come back, and like it's a lot of compromise.
Yeah, because you're not just one person creating this whole thing to have sole control
Absolutely.
over it. Like, yeah, you're with
Yeah.
another person. So I mean, and some days I'm not feeling writing, but then she is really into it, and then other days, I may be like, all right, let's write 20 pages, and she's like, so
Yeah.
it's always kind of, so I would say that would probably be one of the biggest.
That is being in sync. Strangely,
Yeah.
with us being twins, but just kind of making sure that we're in sync. Because like we talked, I get really excited about world building, and like
Mhm.
in being totally in that world and stuff, and not that you don't get excited about that, but she's a little bit more on like dialogue, and like making sure that the characters kind of come to life.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting combination. That,
Yeah. But it's really
it's fun, but it's definitely a lot of kind of compromise.
Yeah. But it's
Well,
really neat because we kind of work so well together. We'll take an idea, and she has ideas that like maybe I didn't think about, so it will totally get mixed together into something really cool. So it's really cool, kind of writing together. I mean, we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean it's
a lot.
it's a lot of fun.
yeah, because I'm thinking about it that okay, Kirsten might decide to kill a character, and Kaitlin will like, oh no, please let's have mercy on it a bit. Let's
Yeah,
extend it,
exactly.
something like that. So I was a
Yes.
bit curious to see how you guys come together and making decision on what's become of the fate of one character over another, of what become of the next chapter, of what become of the next scene, of the next scenario, the next twitch, of the next transition, and over again, all those qualities that make for an amazing novel. How were you able to come back together and arrive at a particular point that okay, this is what
Yeah.
we should go with in terms of keeping the storyline beautifully
Yeah.
going? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but we've been working together, our whole lives pretty much. So we do fight a lot, but we also work very well together.
Yeah,
Oh, good. That's quite fun to know. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Yeah, now before we call it a day today, is there anything that you would love to show the viewers about your writing that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
We've been, we read a lot, and we're on, Book Talk and, Bookstagram and all that. And a lot of times we see a lot of the same stories, the same tropes and stuff. So we're really trying to do something totally different, and just
that's we're just really excited. We have a lot of story ideas, planned for the future as well. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's quite lovely to know. I love your take on that, really. Thanks for sharing. And now, upon publication, where should we look forward to receiving your book or to getting a copy? Because I know it's not yet published, but whenever it's getting published, I'm gonna have to attach a link in the description part of this interview. So where exactly do you think it will be available for purchase for interested viewers?
we were definitely going to put it on Amazon. Also, we were thinking about like TikTok shop.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of authors
we've
selling
seen some
books
authors on there. But I'd
Interesting.
say our main would be probably Amazon.
Yeah, we had an author website. It's not up and running anymore, but we're gonna get that back up and running, and and where she works at the library, it's kind of cool because
yeah.
maybe
help get it into other people's hands
Yeah.
there. So I mean,
That's quite interesting because I'm thinking, yeah, that's quite amazing, really. That's
it
quite
works out. I guess.
amazing.
got
Yes,
an insight detail.
absolutely. So what I'm gonna do is I love to link upon publication, actually. I'm gonna be leaving a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of the book and edited. That means the description page of this interview would have to be edited upon publication. Yeah, so thank you so much, Kirsten. Thank you so much, Kaitlin. I mean, you have an amazing book, Kirsten. Kaitlin, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you both for coming on the show. This is quite fun. This is the first
Oh,
time I'm having
yeah.
an identical author on the show. I mean, I'm quite
Yeah,
excited. I'm very, very excited, and this is very, very fun to do.
Thank you for having us. We really
Yes, thank
appreciate it.
you. We had so much
We
fun.
had fun. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah.